Hello, beautiful. So today we are going to dive into the transformative topic that so many people struggle with, but very few people talk about. And that is silencing that inner critic in our minds that can dominate our thoughts and truly dampen our spirits. So whether that inner critic is telling you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not thin or curvy or whatever enough, today we're going to draw a line in the sand and we are going to discover how to finally silence it for good. So the first is to understand what the inner critic is and where it comes from. What is it? I think most of us realize, yes, it's a voice inside of our head, but what we may not realize is that it's often formed from external criticisms that we've absorbed over our lives, these criticisms that criticize and judge us. And this voice might seem like it's our own voice, and it often feels like it's trying to protect us from failure or hurt, but too often it just simply limits your potential and always steals your joy if you let it. So how do we silence it for good? The first step in silencing your inner critic is to just simply be able to recognize it for what it is. Awareness is true power. So when this inner critic pipes up, we want to pause it. We want to acknowledge that these thoughts are actually not real. They're not our own. They're not facts. They're merely opinions shaped by past experiences. And it might even help to actually give this voice a name. You could give it a persona like Nagging Nelly or whatever name kind of jokes about it a little bit and makes light of it, so that you can separate your inner critic from your true self. This will actually help reduce its impact. The next step is to actually challenge the inner critic. So when you hear the critical voice, again, pause by recognizing it, notice who it is, and ask yourself, is this really true? Does this thought that is going on in my mind help me? Or does it actually hinder me? And what evidence do I have to support or refute this thought? And often you'll find that the critic's harsh judgments are actually not even grounded in reality at all. It isn't the truth about you. And then our step number 3 is it's time to shift our perspective. And we want to replace that critical thought and that broken record in our mind with a kinder, more compassionate, more loving voice. You can practice self-compassion. We don't want to judge that we have the inner critic. That actually makes it worse. So you want to pause, you want to notice it, you want to hear it, you want to ask yourself, is this true? And then speak to yourself like you would a dear friend or a deep loved one. This shift doesn't actually happen overnight, but with consistency and consistent practice, you can change the narrative in your mind to one that is loving, compassionate, supportive, and even create your inner inner coach. So what is step 4? You can create affirmations that actually counteract the critic's negative energy. Affirmations like, I am perfect and whole just as I am. Each day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I am worthy of good things. I am a radiant being of light. I am loved and I am lovable. These affirmations can actually strengthen and fortify your mind against this negative intruder called the inner critic. And as you repeat them daily over and over again, this actually becomes your new record in your own mind, your new normal. Those thoughts become your default versus the inner critic's thoughts and voices. So step number 5 is to actually focus on your successes, no matter how small. Remember, what we focus on expands. So each success that you notice and you praise within yourself is proof against the inner critic's claims that you're not enough. So one of the recommendations that I make to many of my coaching clients is to keep what I call an evening success journal right by your nightstand. You write down at least 3 successes, at least 3 wins, 3 things you can praise about yourself to celebrate in terms of these life victories. And what will happen is that it'll be harder and harder for your inner critic to dominate, and easier for your voice of love to be that new normal. So to wrap up for now, silencing your inner critic isn't about suppressing this part of you at all, but rather it's about transforming it into a voice that is supportive, that is encouraging. Remember, the goal isn't that you won't ever have a negative thought ever again, but it's about allowing these thoughts not to control or define you, and to actually install a new operating system where your default mode really is loving, empowering thoughts. So my encouragement is start today. Start taking these steps today. Number 1, recognize and challenge your inner critic, shift your perspective, use these loving affirmations, celebrate your successes. It is time to turn that inner critic into your inner coach. So if you've appreciated and enjoyed this video and you would love to have more tips about living a joyful, radiant, empowered life, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and here is to a happier, healthy, more dynamically radiant you. I look forward to connecting soon.